Samuel Sochukwuma Okwaraji, born 19 May 1964, died 12 August 1989. It is precisely 36 years Sam Okwaraji, who was a professional footballer who played internationally for Nigeria, died. He was also a qualified lawyer, in case you don't know. He had his master's in international law from the Pontifical Lateran University of Rome. Okwaraji collapsed and died of congestive heart failure in the 77th minute of a World Cup qualification match against Angola at the Lagos National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos State, on 12th August 1989. It is 36 years already, and that legend is still there. When you get to the National Stadium, you see his effigy there. Sam Okwaraji was a very fine footballer, the one I admired. I watched that game. I don't know how many of you remember that game. See, if you watch that game on television, we're part of the first people that watched, colored television then. And you saw fans putting their hands on their head, lamenting what has happened to Okwaraji. But Sam Okwaraji, getting to the hospital, was declared dead on arrival. One will miss immensely in the sporting world and in Nigerian sports. Sam Okwaraji. Well, hello and welcome to the agenda this morning. We're looking at policies, challenges and innovations shaping global education. And I am Chike Obogu, John Izuchukwu. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Chike, thank you for having me.
You remember it's always
my pleasure. Oh, certainly.
He mesmerized footballers on the pitch.
Yeah, we're young boys then, but at least we remember very vividly. He was a talented footballer. And I think the person who came close to him was a coach. We have not had another. We've not had another after that time.
Every other person is just an imitation. Sam Okwaraji died on the pitch of play. Just barely 10 minutes to the end of the game, and it was over for him. And then the implication or the lessons from there is whatever you do, always check your health. Check your health. Find out your health status before you engage in any physical exercise. Just yesterday, a day to the remembrance of Okwaraji, we had another coach, the assistant coach, just newly unveiled assistant coach of Shooting Stars, was, they were having this light training in the morning because they had a match that yesterday against Abia Warriors. They were supposed to have that game, which was eventually postponed. But Coach Akin Olowokere slumped and died during training. And that's another thing. So I think it's high time people check their health.
Yeah, very importantly, the other day somebody was advertising or inviting me to come do a comprehensive health check. And I was told it was about 150,000 naira.
Okay.
It's no money, but sometimes it's a big money in this kind of society, where people are fighting on how to feed and then transport to work, service their cars, fuel their cars and all of that. But just like you have said, I think there's a need for us to prioritize our health, because health is wealth. Someone says, if you lose wealth, you have lost nothing. If you lose, money, you have lost nothing. But if you lose your health, you have lost everything. So it's important that we prioritize our health, particularly now that things are very much difficult, because, when you check the kind of food people take these days, it's amazing how the quality of our food has, drastically dropped.
Many of them are synthetic now.
So people no longer have the resources to feed well.
Organic food is now very expensive.
So is the issue. But again, we must find a way to exercise, keep ourselves fit, because it's important.
Try as much as possible to burn out fat, burn out sugar, and then you stay fit and keep yourself alive. Before we move on to the main story for today, let's talk politics. Panic has gripped the African Democratic Congress as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission allegedly targets key members of the 2027 coalition, well, allegedly, who are working to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the 2027 election. Well, this comes as the EFCC on Monday interrogated former Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal, a member of the coalition, over an alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals amounting to 189 billion naira. Interesting. Tambuwal, who governed Sokoto State from 2015 to 2023, arrived the EFCC headquarters in Abuja at around 11:30 a.m. and he was taken in for questioning by investigators. An EFCC source said that withdrawals were suspected to be in violation of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. Well, ADC National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi confirmed that 3 former governors who are key leaders of the coalition had been invited by the anti-graft body. Well, in an exclusive interview to the Punch newspaper, ADC's Abdullahi stated, and I quote him, "Yes, they have summoned our members, but I won't give you names. There are 3 of them former governors. Some are already members of the National Assembly, while others are not." Well, in a statement issued earlier on Monday, Abdullahi had alleged that the EFCC had compromised its integrity by reopening old cases against opposition politicians while turning a blind eye to allegations involving the ruling All Progressives Congress members. Well, responding, the EFCC refuted the accusation of being a political tool of the APC, maintaining that opposition members found guilty of wrongdoing would face prosecution in court. John Izuchukwu, this is becoming interesting. The ADC is saying this, the EFCC is saying that. Now, is this a vendetta at this time?
Well, Chike, you remember that the act that founded, established EFCC by the then former President Olusegun Obasanjo. EFCC, as it were, was a political machinery to oppress opposition at the time. And that was what it has always been. Everybody that comes in use them to harass and threaten and intimidate the opposition. But it calls to question the democratic nature of our president, the one who had sung the mantra, trumpeted the mantra of being a core Democrat, one of those who fought for democracy. And today, his actions somehow appears to be undemocratic, because you cannot want to make toxic the democratic space by silencing every opposition. It is undemocratic. There are better ways of going about it. However, Chike, those who have looted our national treasury, the Commonwealth of Nigerians, if they are found guilty, they should be prosecuted as clearly stated according to the law. But the timing appears to be wrong, because the ordinary Nigerians, even a pedestrian, analysis will conclude that it is because these guys are attempting to unseat the president that using the state machineries against them. That's what it will appear to be. But in all, I think that the president needs to set a tone that is actually a Democrat and not a tyrant.
Well, it wasn't really stated when Aminu Tambuwal committed his crime. However, if he became governor from 2015 to 2023, and then 189 billion naira was allegedly...
But he didn't just get out of office. He's been out of office for
a
while. So why need they go after him now? Why are they going after him now?
Why now?
The timing is wrong.
Is it politically calculated?
The timing is wrong.
Is it showing some political calculations?
Even if it is not political, the timing is wrong. It will be assumed to be political. The timing is wrong. So it tells you that Chike, we talked about institutions of government yesterday. We don't have strong institutions that can be independent. That's our problem. People don't know that governance will continue even though you are out of office. So you need to set a tone such that it's not hinged on one person. Today you come into office, what you're doing is to ensure that all of the institutions are subservient to you. They're your instrument, you use them at will to accomplish your parochial goal and interest.
Is this an art inching towards or achieving the rumored one-party state?
Chike, every attempt to silence opposition, that's what it will appear to be.
Okay.
Because the PDP is in comatose, Labour Party is in disarray, other smaller parties have not been able to put them. In fact, was the Social Democratic Party
SDP
is unfortunate. The state of that party as we speak. And a few months ago, it appeared to be a bit formidable. Now, they are now saying, let's form a coalition. Let's put our hearts together and then form a unified force. And now, you want to use the instrumentality of the state to silence them. Does it now mean that people like Okowa and others who have joined the APC, and they had cases with the EFCC all along, and the cases have not been reopened, it means that they've gone to safe haven and their cases are over. I think it's the wrong signal. It's undemocratic.
So is it a case of join the APC and you be called a saint? Like we have so many saints, now we have Saint Okowa, Saint Obovori,
whether we like it or not,
Saint Mweno.
Politics is about interest.
Okay.
But it's unfortunate that sometime or most time in this part of the world, we pedestal personal interest far above our national interest. It doesn't make any sense. And I think that what APC is doing is like they are gasping for life.
Okay.
It's a sign that they are threatened, that they are afraid.
And looking for every means to stay alive.
So it means that they know that the next election is between them and the Nigerian people.
Okay, so on the flip side, let's look at it on the flip side now. Tambuwal has been arrested, called in for questioning.
He's not yet arrested.
Yeah.
He's been
called in for questioning. Yeah, beg your pardon. And then, do you think his case will go like the case of Yahaya Bello, whose case is seeming to be fading out at the moment?
Yahaya Bello is still in the APC.
Yeah.
He's
a saint now.
Rumor had it that he was falling out with the president. Remember that he also contested.
And he had to be dealt with.
So they needed to put him on check. And so he's treading with caution afterwards. So what you're seeing now is that by the time they harass you, is that you pull out of this opposition? No, the Ashwaji is a tactician. Or he buys you over. So you are in the opposition, you are in that coalition, but you are his agent. Any amount that is your price, you're going to pay.
Have you worked with him before?
Chike, I've followed his trajectory very closely.
So you understand his game?
I don't like his person, but his political
sagacity
is interesting. When you are looking at it from afar, observing how he thinks, it gives you a clue that the man is not just a roadside politician.
Yeah.
He understands the Nigeria kind of political dynamics, and he takes advantage of it very well. Just imagine that several contestants were going to contest the same election with him, the primary elections. Have you ever seen where a single man bought all the aspirants, not even the guys who are coming to vote at that election?
The delegates.
The delegates. He bought the aspirants and bought the delegates. That's unprecedented. We have never seen that in the history of Nigerian political
Like you said,
practice.
Nigerian politics is very unique. It's a unique form of politics.
Very true.
Yeah, and so
Very true.
So Asiwaju seem to be the Maradona. That's the true Maradona.
I think by the time he gets out of political stage, we may not have another like him. I don't like his person because of all that is associated with him, but his political sagacity is amusing, is interesting. to behold, seeing how a man can be playing chess with other human beings' brain. I mean, it's amusing, really.
It's like the tombo thing, right? Well, in football, it reminds me of the likes of Buru Shaga. It reminds me of the likes of Ortega. Yeah. You can never have such footballers again.
But it's unfortunate that when Nigeria is at a precipice,
yes,
we do not need much of that. What we need is a leader that can play the game and bring development. But we're not seeing that. We're still seeing the old rhetorics and the old gimmicks still going on.
Is that all we can afford or offer in Nigeria?
Chike,
is that the highest?
When you study the ancient Greek classical society, no tyrant, they call them benevolent tyrant. Everyone who ended up becoming a tyrant was benevolent at the beginning. You thought they were going to change things. Meanwhile, eventually they will become tyrant. Why? You cannot take another out of office by every means possible, not following the rules, and then you expect that same person to come and become a transformer, to come and become a transformative leader. It's not possible.
Do you see karma coming into play?
So, Chike, these guys, have you not heard one of the northern leaders said, he prefers to be ashamed on earth than to be ashamed in Aljono. Those guys are not, they don't care about what happens after life. That's not their business. The Nigerian politicians don't care about afterlife. What they want is to dominate now and now. That's why I tell people, the time has come where we need to be very much conscious. Because, yes, you know, I've argued that people tell other people there is a life after now. And some persons are living as if there is no other life after now. So we need to be conscious of what this political class are actually pushing to us, you know. So I don't see, they're not expecting any karma. They just want to live their lives, oppress the other people, and then rise to the very peak of their ambition.
We'll go on this break, and when we come back, the main story for today on the agenda. Stick around. Don't go away.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that break. It's still the agenda. Now we're tackling a critical issue in Nigeria and even beyond. It is the Almajiri system, which is a traditional Islamic education framework that is at the heart of out-of-school children crisis. Well, Almajiri system has so much potential, but it needs urgent attention to protect our children's future. The Almajiri system is a traditional form of Islamic education that's been part of northern Nigerian culture for centuries. dating back to the pre-colonial era under empires like the Kanem Bornu. The word al-Majiri comes from the Arabic al-Muhajir, meaning a seeker of knowledge who migrates for learning. Historically, young boys, typically aged 5 to 12, will leave their homes to live with an Islamic scholar or a Malam to study the Quran, Arabic, and Islamic principles. In those agrarian societies, the community supported these students through food donations and shared labor like farming. It was a holistic system that built moral character and religious knowledge. With millions of kids affected today, how can we reform it to ensure quality education while respecting cultural roots, John? The Al-Majiri system.
Well, Chike, I think that we need to be very honest with ourselves. The Al-Majiri system is very rooted at the heart of the northern educational philosophy. And the idea is that when you are grounded in Islamic knowledge, it is difficult to sway you by the Western educational philosophy.
Okay.
So you need to be very firm in your belief system, because the idea of the education is to create a worldview that gives them, the idea that the knowledge of Islam is far above or more important than the Western knowledge. Now, the challenge remains that the government or our nation, as it were, had not taken seriously this issue. When you have over 18.3 million people out of school children in recent statistics, and you have states like Kano, like Sokoto, Kebbi, where you have the list of children out of school at about 63–64%. And these staggering statistics are majorly in primary and junior secondary schools. So at that formative age where their life is being shaped by what they are learning, they are out of school learning other kind of knowledge. Now, the impact over the years is that they have produced young boys and girls that are now radicalized. And the earlier the better we come out to tell ourselves the truth. How much is this knowledge? How has it impacted them positively? Because everyone who had championed the menace of insecurity in the North, they have gone through that particular knowledge system. They've acquired it, they've imbibed it, they've internalized it, and they're now operationalizing it. They're using it against the state. So I think that there's a need for them to look at the purpose of the Al-Majiri system. Is it even sustainable in the 21st century? How do you intend to, subject young people with the potentials to serve one man for almost forever? And when they're leaving that place, they are radicalized. Chike, you are aware, there's one in Ibadan here some years ago that they busted. People kept their children there, and the kind of life they subjected them to will produce animals out of them. So we're saying if we want to build an inclusive society where development, where transformation is at the fore, what we have as knowledge that we're giving to our young people, we need to redefine it. Nobody is saying don't have a religious knowledge, because, there are no vacuum in nature. It's either you must believe in something. In fact, there are no atheists, because atheists believe in something. Whatever they believe is a belief system. So, that being said, government need to look back, because if we want to solve the issues of insecurity, for instance, we will need to deal with the issue of out-of-school children. You cannot leave them to themselves and think that you have a safe society. It's not possible. So reforming it begins with government taking responsibility. Chike, it's not what an individual can do. Government needs to take responsibility. If your children are going to go to a religious school in the evening, they must attend a Western education system in the morning so that you can equip them to contribute to their society meaningfully. It's at that point they can even rationalize and think what their malam is saying or what your pastor is saying. You think about it. Is it correct? But when people have only one-sided story of life, and that's all that your religion tells you, that's all you have, you're not seeing from another prism of life, it means that you are going to, be too parochial in the way you think and see life. And that's what you're seeing today.
But today, the Almajiri system is often associated with street begging and vulnerability. Now, how has it evolved or how has it devolved over time?
You see, at the beginning, the begging was not the issue, it was not the philosophy.
Yeah.
The idea was that they should be taught
morality,
the tenets of their faith, of their belief system.
Yes.
Because they believe when you imbibe it, you make a better person.
Yes.
Particularly because you'll be too difficult to be swayed by other belief systems. Now, these individuals who are engaging them, of course, do not have the wherewithal to take care of them. You can't have 200 children in your custody. How do you feed them? So they send them out after probably the lectures to go beg on the street and make money for them. And over time, it has become an enterprise. It's no longer just about equipping them with knowledge. It's not about using them to make money. Some even subjecting them to sexual harassment and abuse. And you look at the humongous human rights violation that goes on in most of these schools. It's alarming. And so it is important that we all as a people need to sit down and look at, is it working for us? Should we continue to sustain it? You cannot continue what is not working, my brother, because look at it. So today, the North, they know that the security situation of Nigeria has affected them a great deal. And most of these young people that have been recruited were taken from the street. And all they know is what the Malam has taught them. They do not have another paradigm, another way of seeing life.
And now, the scale is even staggering because I read recently that about 20 million, we have an estimate of about over 20 million children in Nigeria who are out-of-school children. And about 60% of them are from the North. But is that statistics accurate?
It was UNICEF report earlier this year. That's a verifiable agency, that carries out a very empirical study. It was a report this year that stated that we have about 18.3 million people out of school, in the North, and not have the highest of them. And when you come down south, it will shock you that a state like Oyo State is ranking top in the Southwest. So these are verifiable facts that you can check.
But let's look at the challenges. Why is this contributing so much and heavily to the out-of-school crisis at this moment?
I don't get that.
The figures, and then this issue of begging and then the paradigm shift in the Almajiri system. Why is it contributing heavily on out-of-school children?
Echike, when you don't have resources to send your children to school, the Almajiri system provides an alternative for you. That's one. Two, I was part of a study in Kaduna State. And Chike, that study was about education. And we found out that people, even when the government makes education free and supplies technology in most of the schools, people don't want to go to school. Do you understand it now? People don't want to go to school. So something is wrong somewhere. Somebody has been lied to somewhere. And I've not seen where you went to Almajiri school and you become a governor. Every one of them who had become governor, become members of Senate, become members of Rep in the North, went to a Western education. Even if they had that Quranic knowledge, education, they had other form of education. So it is the service not to build system that can take these children out of the street and equip them and empower them with Western education. It is a total disservice to our nation. Because an uneducated child in the North will not only become a challenge, a menace to the North, it will become a challenge to the entire nation. And that's what you are seeing today with the spate of insecurity. Is flowing down to the South. So that's why we all need to get our hands on deck to ensure that we contribute meaningfully. We pressure the leaders, both the federal government and those in the North, to ensure that this figure is drastically reduced. We no longer invest in education. And look at Chike, as long as security continues to heighten, more resources is channeled to security. Because as at this outgoing budget, you will find out that security took much more than health and education put together. So if you don't get these children out of the street, they'll be ready-made tools to be used by conflict entrepreneurs, by non-state actors in the country.
John, if you look at health and safety, especially of these kids, they are of huge concern. For me, a question I'll ask you is, what about the abuse? You know, you were talking about the recruitment of these young guys for negative vices and all that. But if you look at health and safety, which is a huge concern for me right now, you also look at the abuse or recruitment into harmful activities too, which you have also talked about. But let's look at the health and safety of these young kids who are out of school, who roam around, who are vulnerable, who go around begging, and who could also be kidnapped. And now on the spate of ritual killings and all that. What's your take on that?
Chike, we're a country where we don't value our future. Because anybody who values his or her future invests in that future. And your investment today determines the outcome you are going to get tomorrow. You see, we can tell your priorities the moment we see where your resources are going to, where your investment is channeled to. It can give us an idea what are your priorities. It is not the priorities of this country, of our leaders, to pull people out of poverty, to pull people out of that system. You know, Chike, do you know why it's difficult for you to cow people in the Southwest and people in the Southeast and in the South-South? A good chunk of people here, Chike, even if they don't go to the four walls of secondary school, there's a street sense that people have. So before you are talking, people are already simulating what your next action. So I think that is a deliberate attempt by the political class to keep their people down in the North so they can continue to use them.
An oligarchy system?
That's what exactly they are doing. But you see, you talked about their health, their health status. But yeah. Chike, who cares? Do they care about how they survive? Did you not read in the news somebody who was given less than 20,000 naira to go and bomb somewhere? I've read in the news somebody who was given 30,000 naira to be part of a kidnap team. So you are seeing how degenerated they have been in their minds, because nothing degenerates a man's mind like poverty. Now, what is poverty? You are not able to feed. You are not able to even have basic health, care. That's the issue. I mean, you see some of them around who beg around. Their immune system, you can't tell the state, because some of them sleep on the street. And so, what is it? Life is of no value to them. So they can easily be converted to become, weapons in the hands of wicked people. Because they themselves have no reason to be alive. life is a liability to them, the way they are living. I mean, people living on the street, where do they take their bath? And do you go close to them and see how much the kind of odors that they ooze out? It just tells you that there's nothing to talk about in this matter. Even those of us who are normal citizens, how many times do you access, NHIS? Because the last time I checked, NHIS is not capturing the domestic, workers. It's for those who are working in an organized setting. So how many Nigerians can even access good health care via the NHIS? So those are the issues. A government who does not care about how you be about educating you, will they care about your health issues? They won't.
Okay, John, before we go ahead, I'm getting this breaking news here that a member of the PDP and the former caretaker chairman of Irekpodun LCDA, Ibadan North Local Government, Agodi Ibadan, has tendered his resignation letter to the PDP. He's a member of the PDP. Here I have the letter of resignation of membership of this individual, and he is Honorable Yinka Kamarudin Oladimeji, who has resigned from the PDP. I am saying this at the moment here, and we'll get you informed as events unfold. Well, in the course of the program, hopefully we get to speak with Honorable Yinka Kamarudin Oladimeji before the program comes to an end. I hope we get to speak with him then. Well, the news here is that he has resigned his membership from the PDP. He's also a member of the Ibadan North. Is this a picture, or is it a pointer to the fact that some of them are aggrieved ahead of the Ibadan North Federal Constituency by-election on Saturday?
Political parties are vehicles. As long as it's not conveying to your destination, you go elsewhere.
You drop.
Exactly.
You are light. Get on to another bus
before
you get to your bus stop.
Because there is not much time to waste.
But some never get to their bus stops. They keep moving.
Well, that's life for you.
Is that what they call a rodo?
Well, I really don't know. But,
okay,
but
back to the discussion. Well, we're talking about the Amajiri system. We've talked about the health status and all that. And now it ties into broader human rights issues, right? Nigeria is signed to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which mandates free and compulsory education. Why is this elusive in our polity as a country?
Yes, Nigeria is a signatory to that convention. And many other conventions that Nigeria is a signatory to that we are not really honoring, we're not respecting. But in all fairness, the country is doing a bit in terms of basic primary education, do you understand, and even secondary education. But the challenge we're having now is that there's this discrimination or segregation in terms of the Almajiri in the north and what was obtainable in the south. I know that the state like Abia made a compulsory education. In fact, there's a task force that arrests children on the street. And when you as the parent come to bail them, they will take you in, lock you up, and release the child as to why the child is not in school. In fact, I heard that the government has a good challenge now because the facilities they have can no longer take, the crowd or the mammoth crowd of, pupils that they now have in their schools. Now, that's a government that want to respect, this convention. And you see, states have responsibilities to their people. There's not much the presidency could do. Chike, let me tell you, you may not have known that the federal government has a partnership with UNICEF and several other agencies. In fact, with Airtel and maybe M10 or so, there's a program the federal government had that is called the Nigeria Learning Passport, the NLP, where pupils can learn online and offline. And it was particularly because of the North. Because when you look at it in the overall, it's supposed to help children in crisis-prone areas to learn even while out of school because of crisis. But again, how much of this is being taken advantage of? What are they doing about it? So it is the fact that we are part of that signatory, but we are not fulfilling our obligation to that signatory. And let me tell you, Chike, any child you deny education, you are setting up that child for danger. And that child will one day terrorize your country. Nothing broadens your mind like when you're educated. Nothing gives you the liberty to think rationally than when you have quality education. And that's where we are today as a nation.
Well, John, looking at the National Commission for Almajiri and out-of-school children education, is there hope with recent efforts?
I think if they are honest,
Okay.
but again, the Nigerian factor is why that commission is not living up to its expectation, because by now you heard the FCT minister saying that Abuja, that is begging will be, he wants to read off begging from Abuja. Why? Because these persons, they think that is a career, you know, and because we have built system around it. Chike, somebody has 500 people living with him. He buys them shoemaker equipment. He buys them wheelbarrow. They go and make money and come and submit the money in the evening. And they eat and sleep. The next morning they go. Those guys is now a major business. Until we look at these issues and deal with it.
Well, we have questions here from our audience here. There's one question from Damola sending in a message from Lagos. He says, how can individuals help? That's Damola asking here.
Well, you see, like each state has Ministry of Women Affairs and, youth and all of that. Because, we are a country governed by law. Don't wake up and go and start sharing food for Almajiri people. If someone dies there because of food poisoning, you go to jail. So what you do is to check government. This is what I want to do. Can I help 10 out of them to get out to be in school, and I'll be responsible for their school fees? If you can do that, I mean, that's a good gesture. We must all contribute to taking them out of this.
Then what's the role of NGOs?
NGOs are, of course, doing their bit.
Okay.
NGOs are doing their bit.
So individuals could key into NGOs to help.
They can support. They can partner with NGOs. They can also partner with government to get that done.
All right. I have another question here from Mike, listening to us from Germany. He said, "Is there international aid?" Okay. Well, I remember that UNICEF has also given some aids in time past.
A lot of them, even Microsoft. There is this program called the Agile program. Several of them are really targeting particularly the girl child in the North. In fact, a whole lot is done to empower the girl child in the North. But the system in the North that is enabling the Almajiri is as old as the North.
You talked about the girl child, and this question from Samuel in Ibadan is saying, what about girls? Are they included?
Oh, yeah, of course. In fact, they are the most vulnerable. That's why they get, they have teenage marriages going on there. In fact, even child marriage, not even teenage marriage these days. And that's why you have all of that going on, because when a young girl is is not in school at 12, at 13, somebody is talking about getting married to you, and they whisk you away to one faraway village, and by the time your parent sees you, you have 4 kids, you have 6 kids, maybe the 3rd wife to an allergy. I mean, it doesn't make sense, because the ultimate is about the future of the North and the future of our nation, because you cannot clamp down on the right of a girl child. I mean, someone said, if you empower a girl child, you have empowered the nation. Because women are multipliers. They can multiply any little empowerment. I mean, we have seen several studies in nations, in other parts of the world, where women are prioritized. And once you empower them, you are empowering the nation.
We have to go, but John, lastly, looking ahead, what's the vision for a reformed Almajiri system in Nigeria, a projection for 10 years?
Chike, I'm not government. But if you ask me,
Yeah.
I think that they need to tone down what they teach them. Don't make it look like Western education is nonsense. Because people leading you are either lawyers,
Is it about
Engineers-
toning down whatever you teach them or regulating?
Well, when I mean
Their
toning,
thought
when I mean
pattern.
toning down, you see, Chike, what you hear over time becomes your belief system. That's why they are radicals. So if you regulate what you are being taught, if the government regulates it and say, look, you'll be educated in terms of your religion, but you need to be educated in a Western philosophy too, because that's how we govern our nation. And we're not an Islamic state. So we need to do all of that and then make a balance so that we can all, make some progress.
All right, thank you, John, for featuring on the agenda today. Well, if you are inspired, share this episode and join the reform movement. Let's keep this conversation going. Do follow us on all our social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The handle is at Dominion Broadcast. And on the app X, it is at Dominion Cast. Also visit our website at www.dominion.org.ng. I'm Chike Ubogu. Stay positive and best wishes.